Welcome to another edition of Tween the Lines. And we would like to say, first off, before we get started today, we have been away for a couple of weeks. So it is good to be back on track. We've kind of reshaped, reformatted it. No AFL today. There's not much to talk about in the AFL world anyway, so we've got a bit more time to cover some other topics. But before we get into that, let me introduce my co-workers, so to speak, here. To my left, I've got two Liverpool jumpers here. Jake Perkins and Peter Price, welcome.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here again.
Thank you very much. 5-0.
And to my right, I'm going to bring, we'll talk about that after, don't worry. And to my right, Mr. Jeremy Wolfhart. Jeremy, welcome.
Always good to be here, and you're 5.
So we're going to start with that first because Peter's kind of forced it. So why is Ole still in the job?
Okay,
Why is he in the job?
Just before we get there, I know we kind of did our predictions. I predicted a draw. I forget, what did you predict, Jake?
I said we'd win 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, Jeremy, do you remember what you said?
I was a Liverpool win, I think.
Liverpool win. Yeah. So my question to you is, Nick, you basically picked the scoreline. My question is, like, when we did that prediction, were you like hamming? Because I said this to Jake that the night we were watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Were you hamming it up a little bit, or were you genuinely?
Genuinely.
Yeah, you were.
I've seen us play.
Yeah.
I've seen us play.
So that
as I previously mentioned, the best side we had played up until that point was, we could say, Everton.
Yeah.
Leicester put 4 past us.
So that scoreline
Leicester what? Mid-table.
Yeah, that scoreline didn't surprise you at all.
I said I'd be genuinely surprised if Liverpool don't score at least 3 goals.
Yeah.
Well, from my memory,
That happened at half-time.
You said 5-1, right? And you were still worse than that. At one stage it was 5-1, and then Ronnie was ruled offside, so credit where it's due, you did have it at one stage.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that coming.
No.
I didn't see that coming at all.
Especially, because, it was all in the first half. Halfway through 20 minutes in, that game was over.
Yeah.
And, I just didn't, I didn't expect it to turn up like that.
I don't think Jeremy even watched it.
No, because I had work.
Oh, he had work. Yeah. So, now let me ask you.
Sorry that I'm a productive member of society.
Oh, I just come from work, so don't even give me that shit. Let me ask you. Let me ask you this question, Jeremy. If Manchester United were in the form that Liverpool have been in, and Liverpool were Manchester United, would you have watched it?
No.
Oh, I don't believe that. I capped on that.
If it was at 11 o'clock, yeah.
And Peter and I both are firm believers that you guys couldn't watch the game with us because you knew what was going to happen.
I saw the game, I just saw it from home.
I just didn't want to be around the Liverpool man. I don't blame you off that fucking result.
So now,
anyway, yeah. So look, even after that the first couple of minutes, even from our perspective, at least there's a little bit. We got no tactics at all, but there's at least a little bit of energy. And then that first goal sort of happened, and it was
it kind of just all fell apart after that. If you think about it, you had the first shot, so
anything.
It kind of, because Bruno.
Well, it does. If Bruno had scored from that, it would have been a whole different dynamic, I reckon.
Yeah.
If Bruno had scored, it would have been a different dynamic.
Yeah, I reckon that's what I was about to say. I reckon if Bruno scores that, maybe it's 4-1.
Not really. He scored the first goal when we lost to Tottenham 6-1. That was in the opening 2 minutes. That didn't change anything.
Yeah,
so it wouldn't have changed anything.
Did United score first against Leicester as well?
I think they did.
No. Oh. No, we did. Yeah, Greenwood did.
Yeah,
Greenwood did.
Greenwood, scored that.
It was a worldie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But well, look, we only lost 2-0 to City last week. That should have been at least
I think you only
should have been
lost
at least 4 goals put past.
2-0 to City because City only wanted to beat you 2-0. They didn't make a substitution.
They didn't play. They didn't play that well.
Didn't Pep?
They didn't play that well. That just shows how bad we are.
Pep said at training in the build-up to the United game, I don't know what Ole's going to do, so let's just not even bother training.
10 minutes.
10-minute training session
10 minutes.
Yeah.
And they could have played a lot better.
If you think about that, though, for a second, up until that game, Ole was the only manager in the Premier League that had a better record against Guardiola than Guardiola had against them. So it seemed a bit blasé to me. Obviously they won, so it's probably...
Is that Ole winning, or is it the players winning it for him?
Well, hey, if you're going to blame Ollie for it, then you may as well turn it around.
How does he still have a job?
If we're going,
I don't think he's going to have a job.
He's surely not.
I don't think up until the...
I think he's just in the position until the end of the season.
as I've said,
Yeah,
said previously, Pep Guardiola had put him in the coffin. Right, this is his managerial career. Tuchel is now walking down the aisle, ready to start proceedings. In a couple of weeks, we play Chelsea.
Yeah.
That will be his last game.
Yeah, because I was saying, because I was here, I watched the game with Jake, and I remember after we finished watching the game and we went to bed, I said to him, by the time we wake up, Ole's probably gone.
Yeah, we were surprised he wasn't.
Even, okay, yes, maybe us, you can kind of see it, but I'm just surprised against your two biggest rivals, you haven't scored anything.
Mm-hmm. Both
it is so it's 5. So it was 7-0 against
on aggregate.
Aggregate against your two biggest rivals.
Mm-hmm.
You had okay, I know the Glazers or anything, but surely when they are sitting there watching the game, watching United fans walk out against Liverpool, I don't know if the same happened against City. When Liverpool fans are sitting in your away end, singing about your manager.
Ollie's at the wheel. At the wheel. Ollie's at the wheel.
And that's what I mean. Like, for me, just a result like against your biggest rivals, regardless of the form that you're in, the form that he was in before that doesn't help him. Mm-hmm. But a 5-0 result against your biggest rivals at home, that's a sacking for a lot of managers.
Well, you're meant to get up for the rivalry games.
Jose got sacked.
3-1.
3-1.
And two of those were deflected.
Louis Van Gaal and Moyes got sacked for far less.
Yeah, that's true. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember you telling me, I think it was before the Liverpool game, that, or maybe it was after, that he had a stretch of 4 games to prove himself or he would be sacked. I think it was...
Who's that?
Ollie. I think it was after the Liverpool game, or maybe it was before that. You remember you telling me he had 4 games to prove himself?
Well, yeah, that kind of included Atalanta, that midweek game, the 2-2.
Mm-hmm. And City was a part of that. City game was a part of that. And
City's a part of that. So we've got Watford next week. I don't know what that could be, anything. Mm. And then we've got we go to Villarreal, and then we've got Chelsea. But Ole, his whole managerial career with us has been 2 things. Number 1, a puppet. Number 2, a hypocrite. This guy comes out and says, we want to re-establish attacking brand of football. Okay? So in the Manchester Derby, the most recent Manchester Derby, we not only played 7 defensive players, number 1, we had more shots on target from our players against David De Gea than Ederson. I will repeat that. We had more shots on target against David De Gea than Ederson. And Ederson is not our keeper.
And that's what I mean. Like, I genuinely, like you said, that they had the small training session. But I genuinely think City were just doing that just to keep their fitness up. Because they didn't make a sub. They were all over you.
City were in 3rd gear. They were in 3rd gear for 90%.
We are currently, factually, in worse form in our last 5 games, league games, than Norwich. Norwich are looking for a new manager.
Because the whole thing is...
They're looking for a new manager.
They easily could have smacked you 6-7-0 that.
Of course they could have. You know the difference between the Manchester Derby and your game? You guys didn't miss any chances. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, City had missed a fair few chances.
Yeah, they actually missed quite a few. So
just quickly...
And De Gea had about 6-7 saves as well in that game. We'll run through a few of the hirings. So, yes, Steven Gerrard to Aston Villa.
Kind of come out of nowhere, to be honest. I
had an inkling. I didn't think it was going to be that long until he joined the Premier League.
Yeah.
I would have thought Newcastle would have gone hard for him.
Yeah, and that, well,
they've gone for Eddie Howe. They've picked up Eddie Howe, Newcastle have.
They've picked up, so... Yeah, I think it'll be alright. I think it's definitely a step up from...
When you, even knew myself that he'd eventually find his way to the Premier League.
Oh yeah,
but even with this experience that he's had managing Rangers and delivering them a premiership after I can't remember how long it has been. I had a drought.
No, because I'm a Celtic fan. Celtic won 9 seasons in a row, 9 leagues in a row, and then Gerrard come in and won it for him.
So that will help. But another thing I want to point out is now that he's coming quicker to the Premier League than we think, does he kind of just, what's the word for it, like be groomed into maybe after Klopp retires? Because obviously Klopp won't get sacked.
Trying
but
to build his resume. See, the thing is, I'm still iffy about that because the only reason is we're seeing it in front of us. We've seen it a couple of times. Former players going back to the clubs.
Yes, I can tell you all about that.
It's not working out well for Ole.
Didn't work out for Lampard.
It didn't work out for Lampard. It's not going well for Arteta. I don't think it's going to go well for Xavi at Barcelona.
Xavi,
yeah.
Right,
I mean, he's been short-handed there. So,
but do you see what I mean? Like, so
Coleman was a Barcelona
my thing
player.
is if Klopp were to go, my preference for
Pep
the
Linders.
person to take over would be Pep
And that's what I was about to step on. If for a long time it's been Pep Linders, he's
like
right-hand man.
assistant,
Okay.
yeah.
So for a long time it's been well regarded that he's probably the bloke that will take over. But having said that, so I think Steven Gerrard's he's a different cat. I think his mindset and his personality would suit that of being a Premier League manager. Because he doesn't take shit.
I
never has.
I think maybe this is a question that can be asked in 6-12 months' time. Once he's actually had a chance to get in, and we see, because like I said, it's a different kettle of fish.
The SPL to the EPL was a whole different ball game.
Absolutely.
So I think in a way, it is him trying to build his resume a little bit to kind of get in.
And just quickly,
job.
His third game in as villain boss is a trip to Anfield.
Yeah.
So that'll be quite interesting.
That'll be very, very
Everyone in the stadium will stand and cheer him. I know it. For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Having the best fans in the world, that will happen. So.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Now, at Norwich City, we mentioned Norwich City before looking for a new manager. It was going to be Frank Lampard until the 11th hour. He
had a look and said, "No."
Yeah, he's pulled out like Antonio Conte did in August with Tottenham, but we're going to see how much.
Conte come back because they sold him. Oh, well,
we'll see how much that's hypocritical in a minute.
I think I just saw Norwich now have reached a verbal agreement with Dean Smith.
I was just about to say that, yep.
Yeah, I literally just saw it on my newsfeed, which...
and he just got sacked from Aston Villa.
Yeah, which is...
Oh, really... was he the villain's boss?
Yeah,
Right.
So he's gone from...
So who's taking over Rangers then? Because I don't really keep up with it too much. I didn't even know Gerrard was thinking about leaving. Because he only won the league last season. So.
Yeah, true. But a move to the English Premier League.
Yeah,
move home.
Yeah, of course.
Can they just sign Graham Arnold to the Socceroos have to look for a new manager?
That's a very good call. I'd like that to happen, but unfortunately, Graham Arnold doesn't really have the credentials. Maybe.
Wait, hang on. Are you saying you want Graham Arnold at United? Is that what you just said?
No, Rangers, so that Socceroos can get someone better. Let's be honest.
Oh, you want Arnold out of the Socceroos position? What's wrong with that, Graham Arnold?
Can he play McLaren?
So you're gonna shit on Arnold, but you back Ollie.
I know, we've done this several weeks.
Apparently he's Ollie out now.
When you were going on the verbal, did he say one
Apparently
word?
he's Ollie out.
Yeah, he's
now,
not.
so
He's so not. He's
No.
only Ollie out when his agenda suits
You
him.
gave me
twist and turn.
You gave me the whole interrogation.
Right, but okay. Here's my thing.
No.
I'm gonna go back to Ole when you were Ole in. You're saying Arnold wasn't playing players. Donny van der Beek.
Yeah, but I never liked the fact that he played.
Donny van der Beek played. He got subbed on and scored. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, but I think he should play.
You think he should play more?
Yeah, I never said he should.
Why would you play
So
Van
why
der Beek when you have
are you Graham Arnold out
Scott
and
McTominay and
Ole in at that time if they're both not playing players you like?
McFred is where it's at.
Good Lord in heaven.
McFred's where it's at.
I got Jez on the ropes right now. I got Jez. He doesn't know what to say. He's not sure.
To be fair, Peter did interrupt.
Oh, okay.
Well, he did.
I don't know how you could have been Ole in at all in the first place. I know that right now you're Ole out in quotes, because I don't believe that for a second.
Are you actually doing air quotes on
Yes,
a podcast?
yes. Well, I said air quotes on the mic. So
Yeah, only after you.
Jeremy
said them.
is air quote Ole out. Nicholas is Ole die. And all us Liverpool fans are Ole in. So it's a mixed bag.
Ole die. Jesus. Still a club legend, but come on
the
now.
only reason you're backing away from Ole dies because
Nick says that, but if it was the chance for Zidane to come in, he would walk over Ole's dead body. Wouldn't you, Nicholas?
But he's not dead.
Yeah, you would though. You absolutely.
It's a bit disrespectful, Jake. God. Be respectful here, please.
Never.
Now, what were we going to say, Jeremy?
I was going to say the only reason you're not Ole dies because you can't figure out how to do it without being caught yet.
Pretty much.
See, there's no denial.
Yeah, see, Nick's being attacked right now. And he doesn't
See,
like it.
Also,
There's other couple coaches. That my teams, I could do that too as well. But yeah,
and now you're on the Kyle Shanahan bandwagon.
we can have that discussion for another week, or we could have it later on. It's up to you. But yeah,
I don't think I want to go down that road.
Belichick out.
we'll save that for a bit later. But now, Antonio Conte, after rejecting the job in August because of the people within the club, has now decided, it's all changed. Let's go to Tottenham.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't know how that works, but anyway.
No, we know what happened. They said they'd buy players. That's the reason he said no to him in the first place. They didn't want to spend money.
So now that Mourinho's gone, Conte's now in.
Yep.
Do you think now Kane is more of a chance of staying?
No.
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 He
You
wants to
still
win
reckon he's
things.
gone?
How many Tottenham managers have been there and have not won
That's
anything?
true. Yeah, that's true.
Now, it's an interesting stat I found with Conte. So the last three clubs he's managed, which has been Juventus, Chelsea, and Inter Milan, he has won the league with all of them within his first 2 seasons. Can you replicate that? So I assume so it's not happening this year. That's obvious. It's going to happen next year.
Oh, anything.
This
can
is
happen.
last 3 clubs.
You got to remember, you think the Premier League won't happen, but Leicester won it, so it can happen. And Tottenham are far bigger club at the moment. They've got the players to do it. Do I see it happening? No, I can't. I think Liverpool, City, Chelsea are all above them.
You think he's going to stay?
No, I don't.
I don't think he's going to stay either.
Hurricane.
Harry Kane.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to stay.
You got Son there. Son.
Isn't he like 30 now? 31?
Kane.
Yeah.
29?
29 or 30. Well, he's on the last stretch of his career, so why wouldn't he go and try and win trophies? You only do so much as an individual.
I don't think his market's that huge, though, Harry Kane, because it's really Manchester City. But I think City is kind of sitting there going, there's a 20-year-old wonder kid from Dortmund.
Isn't he?
Who's worth half the price and giving us twice the amount of output.
Speaking of wonder kids from Dortmund, does Ole feel like playing his or not?
No, we don't play good players. That's what we do.
Okay.
Pogba leads the league in assists. We haven't seen him in 3 games, and now he's injured.
Okay, this is what gets me. These are such transparent attempts of bait.
Don't care. It needs to be heard.
It needs to be said.
It needs to be reiterated.
So wait, Pogba.
You have said it.
So Pogba,
and I'm gonna keep saying it until he is sacked.
So Pogba was on. He got subbed on against Liverpool, and then got sent off 15 minutes in. So he hasn't played since then.
He played. He came on against Atalanta.
I know he had to miss. He had to miss a Premier League game because he got 5 yellow cards. Because I remember in the Liverpool game they said that's his 5th, so he couldn't play, and then he got sent off.
So he got 2 games because of that, and then the red card. Yeah, but he got injured playing for France.
Well, let's go back to Tottenham.
I hate internationals so much.
We'll go back to Tottenham for a second, though. Are they really that good? They got World Cup.
No, they're not.
They're not.
But they're not that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Conte can bring.
They slide into fourth. They slide into 4th at best.
Harry Kane doesn't want to be there.
No.
And Harry Kane. Here's the problem. Harry Kane will want to go, but no one's going to be interested in Harry Kane until the Erling Haaland sweepstakes.
And he's.
It's because of this English tax.
He hasn't.
No, it's not even that though, because Harry Kane is a prodigious striker. I know he gets some criticism, but he is a very good striker. Very good strikers go for a premium.
150 million.
No way.
No.
That's what the price is
for a guy that's injury prone.
What would Erling Haaland go for?
For a guy that doesn't show up in any finals that he's played in.
What would Erling Haaland go for?
I can tell you where he's not going.
His clause. He would go for 200 million.
He would go 200 million.
He would go for 200 million.
He would be worth more because he's younger. He's more prestigious.
I think Haaland and Mbappe are probably the most expensive players in the world right
Yeah,
now.
it would be Haaland and Mbappe. But Kane, if you're a team that needs a striker, challenging for the league.
Yeah, who's going to fork out? There's only one team that's going to fork out 150 million.
If they miss out, it will probably be Man City.
The only way that he ends up at City is if Chelsea decide, because I've heard Chelsea rumours that they might want Haaland as well. That's going to be scary. Him and Lukaku. Jesus Christ. Bayern Munich as well. Because I know that Nagelsmann doesn't mind the two striker system, so that's another. But
everyone that could afford him is going to us.
Well, right now the Premier League is a three-headed race. It's Liverpool, Chelsea, and City. I can't see Liverpool don't pay that much for players. There's no way on planet Earth that we would pay. So we're out. Chelsea, I could actually see Chelsea spending that sort of money.
Yeah.
Because Roman has a history of spending big dollars. City, we know City, they've always done that. So I think he's a chance to go to either of those. Does he want to win the Premier League or does he want to go abroad? Does he feel loyal to Tottenham in the sense that he doesn't want to join a rival? But does he also want to win the Premier League? So
it'll be a question of who will take Harry Kane. We know the Haaland sweepstakes will be what dominates the transfer market at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Kane will be probably second because Mbappe's got his start set on Real Madrid. So as long as he can, we know it's the most open secret in football. He'll go to Real Madrid. So take him
for free
out
as
of the
well.
equation. What's that?
For free as well.
Yeah, but take him out of the equation. That's an open secret. Kane's probably going to be second.
But see, the only thing
at least as far as
is I know he's good, but as we said, he's what 28,
29.
29.
He's definitely near his 30s. I know that.
Yeah, if he's near his, I'll check in a second. But if he is in that 29-30 range, is someone actually going to pay that price?
The guy's not reliable.
He is good. He is good, but he's not 100. He is not 150 million.
No chance. I wouldn't pay more than 70.
Because to be
And
honest,
he doesn't. And for 150 mil, he doesn't show up in his two biggest games in his life was the Champions League final against you guys, nowhere to be seen, the Euro final against Italy, nowhere to be seen.
Let's just pull it back a bit because he was injured going to that Champions League final.
Okay. Fair game. He was carrying an injury,
and it wasn't his choice to be played. So I've got to put that on the manager.
Hang on, I would have thought if it's a Champions League final, I don't even care. If I'm good, if I'm 90%.
Oh, for sure. You put your hand up, but was that the right decision is what I'm saying. If you're playing Liverpool in a Champions League final, you need to be at your peak. Because we had just lost the season before and there was no way we were going to go down again.
They had a lot of the ball. They did have a lot because you guys scored it. They had a lot of the ball, but they needed it.
We scored
because they needed someone centrally to provide something.
Yeah, we scored early and then we just held them off. And then Origi scored late.
I'm with. If he's putting a price tag of 150 on himself, he's not going anywhere.
There's no way. Tottenham will put that on him.
Not even 150. If he puts 6 figures on himself, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I can't.
No one. Yes, he is good, but the age that he is, his form at the moment isn't fantastic either, is it?
Well, he doesn't want to be there. That's the thing.
But see, that's the problem though. Is like you need. Okay, yes, you don't want to be there, but you still need to show that you're, somewhat able to play and rock up
at a high level
and play.
The thing is, though, this is on Tottenham because they've been competitive, but they've never been contenders. They've got a ton of talent.
Oh, they finished second a couple of seasons ago.
It was not really, but that was the one time, and they choked that away. It wasn't a close race by the end.
Was that the season we won? Or was that...
No. That was... I know you're thinking of it. It's when Leicester won. And it was
Kane,
sort of like them and Arsenal kind of hanging around.
Yeah. Kane turned 28 this year.
Yeah.
Kane turned 28 in July.
He's hit his prime. Strikers usually hit their prime in the late 20s. You put him on a good team, he's going to net you goals.
Okay, so just sort of a last topic that we've got here within European football. We mentioned... briefly mentioned it a bit earlier, and it's West Ham, who are now sitting in third. Who, well, you'd assume from here they won't miss the top 8, which means they'll play European football again. Possibly Champions League. They are sitting in third. So who from the outside could potentially knock them off?
Well, they're in really good form. I think the only team in the top 6 that they haven't beaten is Chelsea, and that's only because they haven't played them yet. I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think they've got. In fact, their next month they've got Wolves away, City away, Brighton at home, and then Chelsea at home with Europa League games in between. So they have got them in the near
That'll
future.
be a tough stretch. For them.
It is a tough stretch. And that'll really test them, because if they get past that and they still stay top 4, you think, well, absolutely, they're a chance.
I was just about to say,
We've got to remember the confidence they take from beating the big teams too.
If they get to the Chelsea game and they're still within touching distance of top 4, I would say they probably could finish it.
And don't forget, they're probably a huge chance to maybe win Europa League as well. So that's another avenue.
I think Arsenal may be the only other team, because they're in pretty good form at the moment too. They haven't lost in the last 6 games or something, I think it is now.
Is that
longer than
Arsenal?
that? I think it's longer than that since.
Yeah, it's been a while since they've
Probably
lost.
since they got smashed by City.
Yeah.
What was that? Early September?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Mid-September?
So I think they're in 5th or 6th, Arsenal.
Yeah.
So they're right around the mark. And at one stage we were talking about relegation for Arsenal. So Arteta, to his credit, has turned it around.
So,
and I remember Pep saying, give him time, give him time, give him time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's showing.
I think... So
they're very young as well, Arsenal. Like, they're so young.
Yeah,
they
Their better players are young players, so there's going to be inconsistency.
Smith Rowe.
Smith Rowe.
Yeah, they're all very good players who
So,
have a long time to come.
At the moment, it's Chelsea on 26, City on 23, West Ham on 23. City have the goal difference. Liverpool in 4th on 22, Arsenal 5th 20, Man United 6th on 17.
So
the only way, Arsenal's one team. The only way I could see us getting in is quickly sacking Ole, bringing in Zidane to maybe get a 4th spot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because top two is decided. It's just the order.
Mm-hmm.
I
think Chelsea will go on to win it.
Yeah, I think Chelsea. So I think it's Chelsea.
But the top 2, I think
Liverpool
pretty much set in stone.
second.
Liverpool bottled their chance, I think, to win the league when they lost to West Ham. Because if we'd won that, we would have gone 1
Not
point
that.
behind.
I think we're going to fall away at some point, just because we don't have the ability to rotate.
We don't have the depth.
Yeah, we don't have the depth, and once you get to that really congested part of
Christmas,
December.
January.
Christmas,
That's when
and
we've
Yeah,
always
December's
fallen
the
apart.
month where it really tests your depth.
That's where we're gonna.
We are notorious for falling apart after Christmas.
Not only then, but City and Chelsea have crazy depth, so that's where they're going to win it. So 1 and 2 is decided. Now it's just a matter of who's going to finish 3rd and 4th.
Yeah. Well, I still think it would be you guys, unless Arsenal, go crazy and maybe even in the January transfer market. I mean, they went crazy in August, so I don't know if they do that again. But they're in good form. I don't know how long it will last. It could hang around. They might knock off West Ham, but I think West Ham are a huge chance.
I think if FSG were ever to sell Liverpool and we got backing by some sort of oil money, I think the rest of the league would be very, very concerned. Because if we're
You say that about a lot of teams, really.
Yeah, but if we're competing for the league every season with the depth and the money that we spend compared to Chelsea, City's, United's, if we had that sort of net spend, I think we would be walking the league. Because you'd have Van Dijk at the back, you'd have like an Mbappe or a Haaland up front, you'd have the midfield, you could buy whoever you wanted. It wouldn't be fair, I don't think.
But I remember when
my big criticism the past couple of seasons is that we haven't actually strengthened.
Mm-hmm.
So we won the Champions League,
and that's the thing. You sort of
we won the Premier League and we didn't strengthen. And in fact, if you think about it, we've actually weakened ourselves because we've got rid of
Genie
we got rid of Wijnaldum. We got rid of Shaqiri.
I guess
it's more so
we're trying to blood players like Curtis Jones and these Harvey Elliott types, but that only gets you to a certain point. You need to buy players,
and because I remember when the Glazers took over for us in 2004, and since that point, for Sir Alex until he retired, we actually had sold more than we actually bought in terms of monetary value. So I think the point is more so because you guys have done it well, where it's not just about going out and spending huge money on whoever, but getting certain types of players that play the role.
Yeah,
which is what works.
Well, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? You could say that, but then you could also say You need the better players to take you to that next step. Could you imagine a Salah on one wing and then Mbappe or a Haaland on the other or in front?
Oh, yeah.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. But that won't happen for us because FSG are tight.
Yeah.
They've always been tight. And it's frustrating. It's very frustrating because I know, most Liverpool fans know, if we had the same amount of money spent on our squad like United's squad is worth 750 million. That's $750 million. If we were spending that kind of money with the players we already have, couldn't see anyone beating us.
Yeah, it's a fair point. It's a very fair point. But I think as well, Chelsea would still be spending good money with Tuchel as the manager. Pep, the same. Well, that's the thing. Pep and Klopp, we obviously not going to get sacked, but they're probably going to. I reckon they'll probably retire probably about the same time.
Yeah.
Well, Klopp came in saying he only wanted to spend 4 or 5 years at Liverpool, and then he was off. And I think he's already spent 5 or 6. I think this might have been his 6th season. And he come in and his first interview, he said, "We'll win something if everyone does the right thing. We'll win something within 4 years," and we did.
Yeah.
So Klopp, I think if we didn't have Klopp as a manager, I don't think we would have won the league.
No.
I don't think we would have been able to
All
do
depends on who you get. Could have got someone else. Maybe it could have worked out. But it all depends on who the manager is.
At the time, I had a good feeling about Klopp. I remember watching. I was like, I think this is going to be the right guy to lead us.
Because he did it with
United
Dortmund?
he won the league with Dortmund.
Yeah.
Took him to a Champions League final and lost to Bayern. But United were actually interested in him first. And he was in talks with Manchester United. And then Liverpool come into it. And he's had a chat with his wife. And she says, I think Liverpool suits your style more. Like the brand would be better for you. So he picked us. And obviously it's gone all right. So
yeah, joyful. All right. So that'll wrap us up over in Europe. Okay, so welcome back. We are going to start with the National Football League.
yes, and I would just like to talk about Kyle Shanahan just quickly. Okay?
No, that's a lie.
Just
You're
quickly.
not
No.
You're not going to say anything about Kyle Shanahan. You're going to introduce the subject and let us talk about
exactly.
Kyle
So
Shanahan. Yeah,
on my
exactly.
left, we have Shanahan in.
This is the right-hand side. Peter's on your left, you moron.
My left hand.
I did Liverpool.
And then on my right side, I have Shanahan out. Now, discuss, boys, because it's hilarious.
No, stop. Hang on. We'll agree on something first. So the man to my left, and actually my left, Jake, has decided he wants to trade. Now listen to this. He wants to trade Bill Belichick for Kyle Shanahan. I've heard this multiple times. I'll say that again. As a New England Patriots supporter, he wants to trade a coach who has won 6 Super Bowls for a coach who's won 40% of his games in his career as a coach.
A coach that was...
Who doesn't even know how to decide on a quarterback that he wants after 5 goddamn seasons. Continue.
So...
Compared to Belichick, who went out, drafted his quarterback, and it worked out.
Oh, yeah. When did he draft his quarterback? What pick was Brady?
He still went out.
You're acting like he knew Brady was the next GOAT.
No.
He won 199th.
Okay, but the point is, he got his quarterback within his first couple of years, didn't he? We're still waiting on this quarterback.
Are you shit me? He signed Drew Bledsoe to a 9-year contract.
Okay. The point is, he had his quarterback within the first couple of years, correct? Correct?
The only reason he had his quarterback is due to the Jets player that took out Drew Bledsoe. Did Belichick identify him in training? Did he go, oh, you know what? You're going to be the next GOAT.
Hang on. That's a very good point. Because Jimmy Garoppolo got injured, and we put in Trey Lance, and he didn't have a bad first game against Arizona. And then what do? We put him back on the bench.
Yeah, he's no Mac Jones.
Don't start. One thing at a time here, please.
He's the best rookie QB of the season so far, and it's not even close. Try and argue that. Oh, Jeremy's quiet over there. The biggest Mac Jones. Yes, he is. He's enjoying not talking about Mac Jones because he knows he's wrong. He knows he's wrong.
Anyway, back to this point. Back to this
Peter's
point.
been
No, if we're going to
nasty
talk
tonight.
about Kyle Shanahan here, now I have.
I'm just enjoying the show.
Now this I think has been smoke and mirrors for the whole league for so long. In terms of yes, he's a good play designer, but is he a good play caller? Very debatable. And what I've seen in the last couple of years, don't think so. Number two is you can be a good play designer, you could be a good coordinator, but that doesn't mean you're a good coach. We have had injuries after injuries after injuries. Now, is it luck? Yes. It can be bad luck. But he came out last year and said, we changed physios, we changed our head of strength and conditioning, but on top of that, he also said players were being overworked. So if that luck has still carried over, why hasn't anything changed? Why aren't they pulling back? I understand if you're trying to work your players into the ground, but if it's to the point where no one can get on the field, it's of no benefit.
And why is Shanahan going for Kirk Cousins when there's Patrick
Well,
Mahomes
hang on.
Deshaun
that was
Watson?
years ago.
Let's actually talk about that for a second. When Shanahan took over, there was no Jimmy Garoppolo. Colin Kaepernick had gone. There was really no quarterback on the team. And so he needed a quarterback. And Kirk Cousins, which people forget, this was, I believe he was still at Washington at this point in time, when Kirk Cousins was widely seen to be on the move. Now, there were a few different candidates for quarterback. Kirk Cousins made most sense because it fit the style. It fit the play-action style. It was about team fit. And it didn't end up happening. Part of that was because Minnesota gave Cousins a contract that was, I believe, completely guaranteed money, which I'm pretty sure is unprecedented. He got Garoppolo. Garoppolo, made a Super Bowl. He hasn't been a dumpster fire, but he's not really made the next step. So now they've got Trey Lance. Here's the thing about Trey Lance. He is a raw prospect. He was only played one game of football last season because the Division 2 season got cancelled. He didn't play it when it recommenced because he had committed to join the draft, so he committed to preparing for the draft. It's always been known he's got good legs, he's a tough footballer, he's got a cannon for an arm. It's also been known he has kinks in his game. He played, situational snaps to start. Got to start against Arizona. Wasn't great, wasn't awful. But to be fair, Arizona is one of the toughest games.
Yeah, I saw that. He was.
Right. He was good for his first start for what it was. If he played a horrible team, it wouldn't have been a good game. It's all about context.
Yeah.
You see online, Shanahan won 40% of his games. Yes, well, for all but one season, he either had a rebuilding team or injuries. The 1 year he didn't, he made the Super Bowl. There's your context. But because the context doesn't fit the point, people like to gloss over the context.
Okay.
People are like, oh, well, they got Solomon Thomas, they didn't draft Deshaun Watson, and they didn't draft Patrick Mahomes. Context, when people look at these players and like, oh, such great quarterbacks, why didn't they go number one?
It's hindsight. I get it.
They don't remember these quarterbacks were considered overdrafted. Patrick Mahomes, for those who don't know, had a second to third round grade by the NFL Draft Committee or whatever they call it. Now, hindsight being 2020, they got that wrong. Because obviously Patrick Mahomes is the best young quarterback.
Well, they're always crap.
I don't know about that because then why? Okay, but then why did the Chiefs?
I have not finished yet. So hindsight is 2020. They didn't want Mitch Trubisky. They didn't want those quarterbacks. They picked Solomon Thomas. Solomon Thomas didn't work out. But if you can apply hindsight to any situation, sure, everything looks bad. You got to look at the decision in the context for which it is made. And a lot of the criticism of Kyle Shanahan is not done doing that. It's done using the 2020 vision of hindsight.
So, if we're going to use this argument about drafting players, first round talents, let's just fall on John Lynch, because I can only think of 2 first round talents since he's come in that have, you can argue, sort of worked out, which is Nick Bosa, and then to a much lesser degree, Brandon Ayuk. Who else? Eric Armstead's far too inconsistent. He is over. He's having a good year this year.
Eric Armstead wasn't John Lynch. Eric Armstead, I think, was Trent Bolt. I think he was before before.
Sure.
I think so. Because I'm pretty sure the Solomon Thomas draft was...
I think you're thinking of DeForest Buckner.
Well, DeForest Buckner too, but I think Eric Armstead was not...
Jeremy.
Regardless, the point still stands.
Jeremy, my 2 cents in this. So, you drafted Trey Lance with pick 3, right?
Yes.
What did you trade for pick 3?
3
first rounds.
Picks. I don't know if there was any extra
3
picks
first
extra.
rounds for a player who's not playing.
But it's still about developmental
And I
time.
could-
You look at Patrick Mahomes, he sat for a year.
Developmental
It's all about
time.
Yes, that some quarterbacks cannot take the field right away. There's a big difference between, especially if it's not a pro college scheme, between what they do in college football and what they do in the pros, and it's especially true if you play for a Division II program. He's not someone who played at Ohio
So
State.
why would you trade 3 firsts for that sort of player then?
Because nowadays teams look at not just
You see potential. I get it, and he's got good legs, and I know that the schemes are different for different teams. But you look at a bloke who you were looking at, like Mac Jones, who both of you were going to cry if you drafted him. Nicholas, in particular,
Kyle-
I
freak
would not have cared as much if we had stayed put. I would have had a problem if we traded up to pick 3 for the purpose of picking Mac Jones.
We wouldn't have had to.
which
We
in
wouldn't have had to.
hindsight would have been a good pick because
In
he's currently the
hindsight,
best QB,
although
in rookie QB.
Also, in hindsight, would have been a horrible pick in the sense that he fell to the Patriots pick.
What do you mean by that?
Well, where did the Patriots pick this year?
12.
Right. Where did
We had pick 12. Yeah, we had pick 12. No,
we pick 11?
11. Was it 11 or something like that?
Yeah.
It was around that area.
Do you think, having said that, so if you didn't trade the first, and you would have stayed at 11, right? Do you think Trey would have made it to 11?
Yes,
No.
but
Oh,
no,
okay.
but
So
also
I'm pretty sure Atlanta wanted to pick Trey Lance. But
no, they would have taken if they wanted a quarterback, they would have taken Justin Fields.
no, they wanted Trey Lance. Atlanta was really into Trey
I
Lance.
didn't see it.
I don't know about that because then went and got Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, because we picked Trey Lance.
Yeah, but they picked before us.
They didn't.
Oh no, sorry, they didn't. They were at
The Jets picked before
four.
us, and the Jags.
Sorry.
picked before us.
Well, they still could have got Justin Fields.
But they didn't want Justin Fields. Justin Fields fell because they were concerned.
His interview was
His interview wasn't great, but I think it was also some people weren't really sure if what he did in college was going to transfer. I was one of those who thought Fields was going to be a good prospect. I would have been happy to trade up and pick for Fields.
Well, my man to my right here, Nicholas, was sending bloody edited photos of Fields in 49ers gear. He was all about the Fields.
Oh,
Well,
I love Fields.
I think Chicago needs to change. They got to change because their O line isn't that good. Offensively, they haven't been good offensively for that long, and they did it to Mitch Trubisky where it just hasn't worked out.
And that's also another reason why Mac Jones is one of the best rookie quarterbacks. Sorry, you look at Jacksonville. Jacksonville is a dumpster fire.
Mhm.
New York is a dumpster fire. Although to be fair, Mike White's played very well. Perhaps Zach Wilson's just not that good.
We
Chicago-
are almost a dumpster fire.
No,
Continue.
but blocking wise, we're not bad. Blocking wise,
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that, but still.
Yeah, but
Chicago, again, not as
if you're
bad as New York and Jacksonville, but not great.
if you're going down the road that I think you are saying the Patriots had a team built for Mac, our O line was horrendous. It's
Yeah, but
still
you-
pretty bad.
You bought and drafted.
We bought
Last
players.
year.
We went into free agency and bought a lot of players, but none of them were like huge,
But
big
they don't
talents.
have to be. They just have to be okay.
But that's what I'm saying.
Not have to be turnstiles.
For a rookie QB who just has okay receivers and an okay O line, he's been fantastic.
But that's all Mac Jones.
But that's all he needs to be. That's all he needs to be.
Right,
If he's
but
winning
the
games,
thing is, what you get, what you see with Mac Jones is what you get. He's not going to develop faster legs. He's not going to develop a stronger arm. His mental mechanics are what
and that's
people like.
exactly right. Exactly right. It's a mindset. I think, honestly, in my opinion, QB is 50% mindset, 50% talent. It has to be.
Yeah, but that's the reason why I said Mac Jones was an overrated prospect, is because the league is moving towards more mobile quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence, mobile.
Yeah.
Zach
Having
Wilson,
said that, though,
mobile.
Tom Brady is still playing the game at 44. He's the exact same build as Mac Jones.
I think
He's
we
the
can have an
coach
ex-
who
I
will
think we
get-
can have an exception with Tom Brady.
Yeah, but
Tom
what I'm
Brady-
saying is they
Tom
have the exact
Brady
same
is
physical
44.
abilities.
I'm talking about what the league is going towards now, not when he was drafted.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, but what I'm saying,
but
you're
Tom
saying the
Brady's-
league now, he's He's the current now champion.
But how many?
Okay, but Tom Brady's not fast, but even when he came in, but he's not out of shape.
Tom Brady.
He takes care of his.
Yeah, absolutely, he has to because he's at that age.
Tom Brady's the exception. Let's look at the MVPs for a second. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. You look at future MVPs, guys like Josh Allen.
Can I ask you, has Lamar Jackson won a Super Bowl?
No. I think he will win a Super Bowl.
Who did Patrick Mahomes lose to? Who did Patrick Mahomes lose to in a Super Bowl?
Well, he did lose.
The Bucks. Who was the QB?
Who was the offense?
Who was the QB? Yes, he's smart. He knows I'm got him right now.
Okay.
Yes.
You're missing the point, though.
I'm not missing no points.
I'm not saying Tom Brady.
They also
All
missed
points right here. They're right here. I'm just wiping them off.
Did not
Kicking
say
them.
They also
Tom
didn't have
Brady
any blockers in front too. Center, both tackles.
Yeah, but Jake, I didn't say Tom Brady was horrible. I'm saying the trend now.
Yes, now.
As
We're
in
going
the
off
draft.
now. We're going off
Yeah,
now. And
Going into the draft.
What happened in the most current Super Bowl? What happened
He's
in the
not-
most?
he's not
What
listening.
happened? You're not listening. You're
No.
saying now is in it. This league's been changing this the past
I'm
12
talking
months.
about- no,
The
I'm
league's
talking
been
about the draft.
changing for like 6 years.
I'm talking about the draft wise.
What about the draft wise?
All the quarterbacks that go number
Okay.
one now
Okay,
are
hang on.
athletic quarterbacks.
Hang on. Okay, the one before that we were in is Mahomes and Garoppolo. Garoppolo's not quick. Okay, obviously Garoppolo's not the player. And then the one before you guys played Goff. Goff's not a mover either.
Right.
It's the way that it's sort of becoming now. Obviously, but when Tom Brady retires, I don't know when. It could be whenever. But when he retires, there's no definite that's going to be. It's sort of like center in basketball. You can still use them. They can still be very valuable.
I don't know what they used to be. I know. I get
Exactly.
what you're saying, and I agree. To an extent, I agree. The league's changing. The offense is changing. But what I'm saying is, I think mindset is just as
100%.
important as that.
If,
And
100%.
if the draft was held 10 years ago or 15 years ago, Mac Jones would be a top 5 pick.
yeah, I agree with that.
That's my point.
No, I agree with the draft. I
He would've been number
understand.
one.
I get the concept of why you want someone to be able to run. You want someone to be able to throw. I get
And
that.
that is my point. That is why I'm saying he would be an overrated prospect.
But
in
what I'm
today's
saying,
draft.
is when it comes to the Super Bowl, Tom Brady can beat them because of this. He beats them. He beat Russell
But I
Wilson.
don't
He
disagree
beat
with
Wilson.
that. I never disagreed with that.
But what I'm saying is we're comparing it to Mac Jones. If I would take a Mac Jones over a Trey Lance in a Super Bowl because of this.
I would take a developed Trey Lance over Mac Jones.
I wouldn't. Not with the mindset. I think Mac. If you look at Mac's stats, he outplayed everyone in college. Every other QB he was better than. His stats show
It's
that.
easy
I'll tell you
when
exactly
Alabama
what we
are
should
like
do.
a bona fide
You're right.
first
And
one.
then he's coming to the Patriots first season in the NFL, and he's killing it. He's absolutely.
I'm gonna say this. Going back to Shanahan and Lynch, I truly believe that Kyle Shanahan did want Mac Jones. I truly believe that because if you look at the quarterbacks that have quote unquote worked, he made Matt Ryan an MVP. Somehow he made Kirk Cousins look pretty decent. When he's been able to play, Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't looked that bad. It's that style of quarterback. So even because Mac Jones, he's still a smart player. He's not very fit, but he's a smart player. So he would have worked the system better.
He was.
But I think John Lynch is the type of guy that said, no.
This is an
I'm
example.
the GM. I'm the GM. This is the way that the league's moving forward. So this is what we're going to do. That's what I think. So I reckon there's a rift that's happening, and I think it's all going to come crashing down in flames.
I don't think it's a rift. No, I think you've overreached there.
Mac
I don't know. Don't
What
be
it was-
surprised. Do
what
not
it
be
was,
surprised.
I'll tell you what it was. 49ers liked Mac Jones from the start. Because, obviously, like you said, he fit what the prototypical Shanahan guy was. They could play action offense.
Correct.
Was smart with hang on. But then they did Trey Lance workout. And Trey Lance had a magnificent workout. We're talking a guy that did everything right. And keep in mind, he only played one game. That opening Division 2 game.
Workouts are different.
I'm not-
But this is what I'm saying. They didn't trade for pick 3 until after the Trey Lance workout.
Well, let me put this to you.
I'm not disputing any of this. I'm not disputing the events of which things happen.
I'm finished yet. And there's one more big clue. When Trey Lance held a second workout, I think one of them was a North Dakota State Pro Day, and the other one was a workout. When he held his personal workout, the 49ers were in charge, and I will say that again, in charge of the workout. They sent him a list of things they wanted him to work on and wanted him to do in that pro day, which he did. They tailor-made his workout based on what they gave Trey Lance. The interest in Trey Lance was wide open well before the draft. I have no doubt at one stage Mac Jones was the preferred QB. But that's what workouts and that's what pre-draft evaluations are for. And somewhere down the line, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch decided...
I don't think it was Kyle Shanahan. I don't think it was.
Let me ask you this, guys. Okay, as you're both Niners fans, so I'll ask you both. If you could go back, would you keep pick 11 and take Mac Jones? Or would you still trade the 3 future firsts for Trey Lance?
I would trade less to move up to get Justin Fields.
Okay, all right.
I like I like Trey Lance. I just don't like.
But my question is, so you're saying no, you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have traded the 3 and at 11 taken Mac.
Well, Justin Fields was my preferred QB.
It was
Trey
both
Lance,
of your preferred QB. You both wanted them.
When you Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson,
They were gone. Yeah.
So Fields was my QB one.
It was Fields, Lance, and Jones. Yeah.
Those were my three.
Mm-hmm.
So I still would prefer Fields.
Okay.
But
if you didn't have the option to take Fields, would you have stayed at 11 taken Jones?
Is Trey Lance available?
Only at 3. Only if you still
so
trade.
He's been taken.
So he's saying,
yes.
He's saying that you have to trade up the 3 people.
Well, I'd think what should happen and what I think happened is probably 2 different things. What would have happened is they would have said yes because, like I said, I truly believe that's who Kyle Shanahan wanted. I don't know.
It is tough because Trey's very raw. Trey is very raw.
Trey has the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, with Garoppolo there, you didn't have to start Lance right away.
And this is also why
you didn't have to start Mac Jones either, and you could have started
Newton.
Mac Jones was teaching Cam Newton the playbook.
Yeah, so he's ready.
Yeah, so he's ready, which we knew that.
Which was means it's up here.
Yeah, there was no doubt about that.
This
Except perhaps for Trevor Lawrence.
This is another reason why I think that Shanahan's got to go. Because right now, we're in our biggest priority now, we're not making the playoffs. That finished against the Colts.
No.
We're going to get smashed tomorrow against the Rams. Anyway.
I don't think that is over, but it's...
What's your record?
4-6? It is over. It is over.
5?
It's over.
No, we had the bye week.
3 and 5.
3 and 5.
3 and 5, something like. It's over anyway. The point now for the rest of the season is moving Trey Lance forward. I still think that between Shanahan and Lynch, one wanted Mac Jones, which was Shanahan. Trey Lance wanted... John Lynch wanted Trey Lance, which is what happened because he's the GM. So I think eventually he's going to end up in flames, which is why I think Shanahan's got to go as soon as possible. Because right now... Because that's how what?
That's not how their drafts work. Shanahan and Lynch work together on the drafts. It differs from team to team. Some teams.
Now I can't. I've got to find some reason why the play calling has been horrendous this year from Shanahan. Offensive, horrendously.
People have differences.
Horrendously.
They could have still preferred a different QB each.
Both. Both.
But that's elite, though.
Just quickly, the Niners are 3 and 5,
and that's also why Jimmy Garoppolo has been played more, even when Lance has come in. And I actually think he's played better in his short amount of time than what Jimmy G has.
I want to point
because Jimmy G, he does some good stuff, but then he just does some stuff where he just overthinks.
I want to be very clear on Trey Lance against Arizona. He did not play a great game. People think he played a great game.
Hang on, we just played.
Okay.
Hang on, time out. We just played Arizona last week. Colt McCoy, who we had as a quarterback starting once upon a time, outplayed Jimmy Garoppolo, and he didn't have DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, or their best running back.
No.
Are you kidding me?
No, hang on. Number one, that has
and
nothing to do
Arizona
with
didn't have JJ Watt this time around.
No,
they didn't have JJ Watt.
No. Garoppolo played well against Arizona.
Both got 5 wins.
What?
3
Yeah.
losses.
Were you watching the game? The stats are very flattering. Very flattering.
You look at
Very
all
flattering.
The drops. You're going to put the drops on Jimmy Garoppolo.
There's always drops.
There were a ton of drops.
But also, it's not just... Okay, you can drop the ball, but like, if you're catching it from like well over your head and you're just getting fingers to it, that counts as a drop. There were a lot of those, man. And he does that very regularly.
Just to switch lanes for a second. I want to talk about the Patriots. We were 2-4 and struggling. We only lost a few of those games from a missed field goal that hit the donked off the post to the Cowboys, and I think another one we only lost by 1 point to the Dolphins. We've won our last 3 in a row. If the Patriots do make the playoffs, it'll probably be in a wild card position, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see them winning a playoff game?
Depends on who it's against. I would assume you'd probably have to play at this point.
Baltimore or something?
Ooh, maybe Tennessee. Maybe Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee's a chance.
I'm
not sure on the... Well, actually, Derrick Henry will be back before the playoffs.
Yeah.
Who else is up there?
What's
Chargers.
in your opinion, what's a pass mark for the Patriots this season?
Well, just being competitive would be enough of a pass mark with a rookie quarterback. You've exceeded expectations.
Yeah, that's true. And quietly, Pete next to me, his Steelers look like they could be in for a wild card position as well. So
held on for the win the other day.
Mm-hmm.
against
Actually
the
managed
Bears,
to-
was it against the Bears they could beat?
Yeah,
27.
A lot of controversial
Yeah.
calls in that game, both ways.
Yeah,
Both
that?
ways.
Lots of bad calls in that game.
Both
See, that's
ways.
the thing
ways.
is when I watch games now, I'm like, I don't.
What's
really
going on?
know. Yeah, I don't know like what's a good call and a
I
bad
gotta watch
call.
a game
but
with all of us so we can teach
Yeah.
her.
That'll come with time.
So I'll move to the topic that we had actually planned for today. So, in the last, I'd say 2.5, 3 weeks, there's been a decent amount of moves. So there's been a few that's happened, both free agency and trade. So I'll ask you guys, which one do you think will be the most impactful signing for the rest of the year? Trade, signing can be anyone to any team. Which one do you think?
I can't think past. I know Von Miller's not what he used to be, but what the Rams are building, having him join, and now Odell, I think those two will probably be the most impactful with what they can produce.
All right, yeah. Look, mine's definitely Von Miller.
Yeah,
They're gonna have Von Miller and Aaron Donald on the same side of the line.
yeah. And I was looking,
And
I
we've
was
got
looking
them
at something.
tomorrow.
And Von Miller's his production's not
We've
been the
gotta play
same.
them twice.
His production hasn't been the same, but he's still Von Miller, and the fact that he'll be working.
I
with
don't
Donald-
know. I don't know about OBJ, and he probably comes in as like their third, second best receiver because Cooper
I think
Kupp's
people-
having an incredible year.
Yeah, he is. But I think people are sleeping on OBJ. He's only 28 or 29, and he doesn't want to be in Cleveland, so his production was down.
His attitude, though.
Yeah, his attitude, but he didn't
was a
want to be
very
there.
good
His attitude's horrible.
but I'm actually shocked at the Rams. I mean, I don't
Do
know
they have a salary cap? Do they have a salary
I don't
cap?
know.
Well, they're
Jesus
only paying
Christ.
because of the way Von Miller's contract is.
Is it back ended? Is it or front loaded?
No, it's a lot of guaranteed. So Denver absorb a lot of it, and I think they're only paying $1 million for him, something like that. So just for this season, obviously after this season, then it carries to more.
The thing is, though,
I'm looking at
the
this game.
Rams are going all in, but the Rams don't seem to do well going all in. They seem to be allergic to draft picks.
Well, because they're going for it now. They're not
but they
worried.
went for it
Why
now-
would you?
They
Why
went
would you?
for it now a few years ago.
Well, they got the chance to do it again.
Right, but it didn't work the first time.
What? So you don't do it again?
I don't think you should put all your eggs in the free agent / trade basket. No, I think you
I don't know about
draft
that.
some people.
Okay, but they're in a position to. If you're in a position to win now, you go for it.
Yeah, and
You go for it.
some
You gotta
moves
go
are
for it.
fine, but I don't think Odell Beckham.
But it's a free agent. What picks? They didn't give up any picks.
Yeah,
$4
but
million
give
for
up
1 year.
salary.
$4 million.
Would you pay
$4 million.
Would you pay $4 million for a locker room cancer? Which you're telling me you would pay
No,
$4 million,
but like-
oh, there you go. So we just acknowledged I'm correct right there.
Okay, but your point's about draft picks. So
Well,
are you
no,
saying?
my
So what
point-
about the
my
Von
point-
Miller move?
So my point is all about just in general the concept of buying all in to go spend.
I'm not
salary-
saying you go out.
salary
I'm not saying you go out and just get anyone.
Well, that's what the Rams are doing.
Yeah, but you obviously got to go through it and get the players to just bulk up, which is what they're doing.
Well, I think the Rams realised they could be. They're a chance.
But
for
your
winning
point's
season.
about
only-
draft picks and developing players. What's the point in getting to the off season and going, okay, we didn't win anything, we fell a bit short like we did the year before, but we're going to worry about developing third round talents. You do that anyway, but you got the chance to win now. It's about winning now.
But
That's
this
the
is-
situation
this is
that they're in.
more
They're
than
not a
just-
development
This is
team.
more than just a regular sort of thing. This isn't like what Tampa Bay did, where they got whole different sort of thing.
Well, no, because
It is.
Tampa Bay went and they identified that they were a quarterback away. They got him.
Tom Brady.
They also got, hang on. Antonio Brown, before he came to Tampa Bay, was considered a locker room cancer. That's a fact.
Yeah,
Then they went and got Rob Gronkowski, who was retired in the WWE.
Right there. Two people right there.
And was a cheerleader at Laker Girls.
And who did they play with before they were at Tampa Bay?
Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But what's your point here? Okay. They're doing the same. They did the same thing as what the Rams are doing this year. They're trying to get talent. They are trying to bring talent in and convert them into try and making them a winning football team.
You can't look at me and tell me the Tampa Bay.
Are you telling me they're bringing in the last defensive Super Bowl MVP?
As soon as Tampa Bay
A Super
got
Bowl
Brady, they bought
MVP.
weapons.
You're telling me they're bringing in a Super Bowl MVP?
As soon as
Oh my God,
Tampa Bay happened, that's when they started buying weapons for him, and that was the biggest problem he had at the Patriots.
Not all of them. Hang on. That Fournette was there. Ronald Jones was there.
Yeah, but they knew.
Mike Evans was
You need to
there.
remember they knew Brady was coming.
Yes. So
It was a well-known
Who
fact.
were the two weapons they got? They got his tight end, who he had good chemistry with,
And he's not starting.
and they
That's the
got
point.
Antonio Brown, who was a risky talent.
Oh, don't even.
But hang on, I don't know, but just bear with me for a second. Risky talent, but had played with Brady before.
Mhm.
That's who they got to bolster the offense. They didn't just pick everyone that was off the shelf during free
I know
agency.
this. I know that. But
This
the
is
Rams
the-
aren't just picking everyone off.
They
That's
have
free.
picked Odell Beckham, Von Miller.
Who were both fantastic.
Von Miller's a Super Bowl MVP,
Yeah.
and they've already got Aaron Donald. That's a
Yeah,
nine.
right.
We've got them tomorrow. I'm
Miller.
scared shitless. We've got Mike McGlinchey's not. Thank the Lord. He's not playing. He's out.
You do
We're
realise-
having two backup right. Oh my!
Kyle
Right guard and right tackle
Shanahan.
against Aaron
Kyle
Donald and Von Miller.
Hang on, Kyle
I prayed
Shanahan.
for Jimmy. I prayed.
Kyle
I prayed.
Shanahan has outcoached the crap out of Sean McVay.
That's very true.
Sean
But
McVay sucks.
But guess what? But guess what?
Has
There's-
actually never lost
there's-
to the Rams.
there's one difference you're forgetting here. They don't have Jared Goff anymore.
That's true.
That's true.
Stafford's
that
better.
is a good point.
Stafford's
That is
better.
a good point. But then there's a but. It still goes to my point.
And there's
though,
also this thing
that
between
the
Shanahan and
Rams
Lynch, I believe.
Tampa
Anyway.
Bay were not the same thing.
It's not
hang
the
on,
exact same
wait,
thing.
Are you? Because I don't obviously follow them not as hard as you guys do. Are you saying you think there's beef between Shanahan and Lynch? Is that what you're saying?
I've heard murmurs about it, and I think it's legitimate.
Murmurs about it.
From not just in the draft, but ever since.
I'm on Team Nick because where there's smoke, there's fire. I had the same issue
There
with
was
Belichick.
no smoke,
Belichick
though.
and Kraft had the same issue because Belichick wanted to get rid of Brady.
I think there is. I don't know if there is.
What's this thing you read written by someone called Grant Cullen?
No, that's not. It
Was it
wasn't
written by Grant
from him. It
Cullen?
wasn't from him. Oh my god.
Was it not?
Jeremy
Get-
hates.
Get your
Jeremy
knickers
hates
out of a
Cullen.
knot.
Jeremy
Just-
hates him. Absolutely hates
But
him.
it wasn't from him, okay? I've heard it from multiple people.
Who's multiple? That isn't vague. Oh, I can say something.
Not from,
I heard it
not from
multiple
random. Not from
people.
random bloody burner accounts.
Nick was at the shops and someone stopped him in Woolworths and said, "You know what? I heard that Shanahan and Lynch have beef." Now Nick.
I can't think of another reason why the play calling has been shit house the last 2 years.
What does Sean Lynch have to do with the play calling, though?
Oh,
Shanahan.
See, he
Oh,
subscribes.
what do you mean? It's got with he. I just told you. I believe that Shanahan wanted Jones and
So
Lynch wanted.
You're saying
Right there. This is the point. This is the
Shanahan
point.
is butchering the play calling because he wanted Mac Jones, even though he ran the workout for Trey Lance.
Just quickly, I want to call hypocrite if he's calling that because he laughed at me when I said Belichick threw the Super Bowl. So if you're, this is the exact same situation, beef between them.
Well, to be
bad play
fair,
calling.
this isn't a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
to
but
be
that's
fair.
on different contexts as well.
Oh,
No, because that's over who has credit.
You're all right, okay.
That's
But
over who has
can
credit.
you-
But I
But
want.
can you actually say? It's
No, I'm
the
talking about
same
the
thing?
Eagles.
But
Super Bowl.
can you say it's the same thing though? That's a Super Bowl. A Super Bowl's a bit different.
Okay,
It's not for
well,
us.
selecting
It's
a
not for
quarterback,
us.
selecting your quarterback to go forward is a pretty huge thing. I would have thought.
I understand that Super Bowls are rare for other teams, but it's been the Patriots Invitational for about 20 years.
They were rare for the Patriots before Belichick was there.
They were rare. They were rare before.
Yeah, but there
Tom
was
Brady
no
come
rift.
in.
There was no rift about who they think should be starting at quarterback, wasn't there?
Let me ask you
It
this.
was just a coaching decision.
Why could Bill Parcells get the Patriots to a Super Bowl with Drew Bledsoe, and then Belichick come in and couldn't do it? Because he's
But there-
overrated.
How long?
I'm still up for that
It's
trade.
Thomas Brady's team.
How long?
It always will be.
How long?
I'm still up for that trade.
Oh,
How long did it take between Tom Brady debuting and the Patriots making the Super Bowl?
same season.
So you're saying that Bill Belichick took a team with a backup quarterback to the Super Bowl?
No, I'm saying a backup quarterback took Bill to the Super Bowl.
Ah,
Yes,
there it
Nick
is.
Foles.
So let me ask you this, Jeremy. If that's your why were the Patriots 3-5 at the time? If Bill,
What does that have to do with
no, well, you're
anything?
saying that Bill took a
Bill
backup
Walsh
QB.
didn't take the 49ers
Bill,
to the
Bill
playoffs for the
Belichick,
third
Bill
season.
Belichick took a backup QB who was 3-5. There was no way we were making a fucking Super Bowl that season. No chance. And then Mr. Thomas, Patrick, Edward, Brady.
See, they were
Jr.
3 and
Can I
5.
just say-
We're 3 and 5. We should put in Trey Lance. See what happens.
Can I just say
Let's
that?
do it.
Can I just say, if this was about 30, no, bro, a little further than that, about 35 years ago, he would have had a ball of conspiracy theories when Steve Young was leading the 49ers when Montana got injured.
Oh, that
He
I
would've
know.
been-
That's
I know
different.
that
He got
saga.
injured.
No, but his conspiracy theories, he would have a ball.
Yeah, but he-
I'm pretty well known in that Steve Young, Joe Montana rivalry. They didn't like each other. That's a
Yeah,
fact.
but again,
Well,
Steve
they
Young.
had a
Because
Steve
professional.
Young-
Joe, from memory, Joe left for the Chiefs, didn't he?
He got traded.
Yeah,
Traded, that's right. Yeah.
Because Steve Young was the quarterback moving forward, like Trey Lance. Ding, 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 ding.
Like Mac Jones. And ding, 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 ding.
He's starting already. That's
But
a
Steve-
different
Steve-
situation.
But I'm saying we
he didn't
moved
start
on.
on the bench.
No, but to be fair, Cam Newton was the starter for the start of the season.
Oh my god.
Was he
Cam
not?
Newton is washed.
Oh my god. I would
Everyone knew
take
Mac. I knew Mac Jones was.
Who would you take? Jimmy Garoppolo or Cam Newton?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
That's down bad. Ah.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Cam's
Cam
washed,
Newton
man.
Is a pool. He is
Washed.
a shell.
Jimmy G is washed. He's a shell.
Okay, hang on. The only reason he is signed to an NFL team right now is Sam Darnold.
Seeing
Is
ghosts.
injured.
Sam Darnold seeing ghosts again against the Patriots last
Sam
week.
Darnold got injured and Carolina.
But what I'm saying is-
we gotta bring Cam back.
What's Jimmy G's greatest accomplishment? Making a Super Bowl. What's Cam Newton's greatest accomplishment? Making a Super Bowl. What's the difference?
He's not regressed like
Wait,
Cam
hang on. You're completely different.
Are you saying?
Situations.
Is this
Cam
fucking
Newton
telling me?
has regressed.
Are you telling me Jimmy G hasn't regressed?
No, it's just really haven't done much of anything. Regression
He's-
or progression,
he's
really.
bad. He's bad. You're
He's
not going anywhere with
he's
Jimmy.
not hot. Okay, look. Jimmy
Cam Newton's
Garoppolo
washed.
is...
You were 10-20 up in the Super Bowl. And what happened?
the
Kyle
defense.
Shanahan.
Oh,
Run the ball.
so you're blaming the coach. You're blaming.
He's done it before.
He's blaming his coach.
Hang on.
He's
Time
blaming
out,
a coach
time out,
for a loss
time
in the
out.
Super Bowl. No. Time out on my end.
Okay,
You're blaming
okay.
a coach for a
No,
Super
no,
Bowl
no,
loss.
I'm gonna combat
Ding,
this.
ding, ding, ding,
Yeah, but
ding.
I'm going to combat this.
You
Hang on.
blame
Stop.
Belichick
Stop.
for throwing the Super Bowl.
Stop. There's a difference between choking
By
and
bad
throwing.
play calls.
Because Shanahan's a repeat offender. Who was the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons against the Patriots?
No, that was their defense that fucked them, not the offense.
Oh, so hang on, not scoring at all from the second half.
I think
28-3.
But it's a combination.
Not scoring at all because, oh, hang on, let's not run the ball. Oh, hang on, what do we not do in the Super Bowl? Oh, hang on, let's try and make Kyle Shanahan the guy that's like, yeah, I know Jimmy's the guy. And then guess what happened? He overthrew Emmanuel Sanders.
But the problem, I think, goes both ways. It was the...
Okay, it goes both ways. But the points still stand.
Also,
They didn't score anything in
we're
the second
going,
half.
We're going to that point as
And
well.
we didn't score anything
Let's go
from
to
the
that
fourth
point.
quarter in our game against
on.
the Chiefs. Okay.
There was 11 minutes left.
Breathe for a second. Jay, there is a difference between what Nick is saying about Shanahan's play calling the Super Bowl. You flat out accused the greatest coach in NFL history of throwing the Super Bowl.
There's a difference between throwing and choking. Let's get that
I just
clear.
choked on my beer when I heard that. Jeremy, the Patriots
Like Ken Hinkley.
score
choked.
against for that. That's my turn to speak. Score against
Ken
for the
Hinkley.
Patriots. The average was 17 points that season. We had 35 put on us. The play calling in that game was horrendous. It is fucking well known that Kraft and Belichick had mad beef that season because he tried to get rid of Brady.
But the point is,
But-
throwing and choking are two different
Oh.
things.
But let me,
They
let
are.
Me, let me
Are
answer,
they not?
Let me answer your question. Let me answer your question with another question.
Because intentionally throwing it is the whole game,
Yeah.
not part of the
But
game.
I'm going to answer your question with another question here. Your undefeated season up to a Super Bowl, I think you were like the best offensive-based team in NFL history in terms of points per game, something like that.
Brady scored 50 touchdowns that season.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like all across the board. What's the game you were like? I can't remember. I think you were top.
Yeah, the
like,
one
of all
season
time.
Belichick
Right,
gave
all-
Brady
all
weapons.
time. Hang on. Oh, wait, my turn. In that Super Bowl, despite averaging however many points it was, you scored 14 points against New York. And this was a team you beat 38-35 in week 17 that season. Why are you accusing them of throwing that Super Bowl?
Because we didn't throw that Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. So,
There was but you're forgetting the
Yeah, but there was no
rift.
rift.
Yeah, there was no rift.
Belichick always has a rift.
Oh, now listen to he's just making things up now. Oh. Yeah, Belichick has a mad rift with the lady that serves him at the counter shop around the corner.
Oh yeah, you should hear what that.
Piss off,
you should
Jeremy.
hear what that bitch says about.
Anyway,
Eat them tits for starters.
let's move on so Peter can rejoin because he's just sitting here with twiddling his
I'm
thumbs.
just enjoying the show. I'm just enjoying
We'll move on to the NBA after this.
I sent Nick with that comment.
We're moving on to our last topic,
Jeremy's been
NBA. So we'll first talk about the news story of the week, which was Nikola Jokic and Markieff Morris, which happened earlier this week, where Morris had intentionally, sort of like
His shoulder checked him in the ribs.
Yeah, pretty much, and he ended up getting a flagrant 2 for that. And then a couple seconds after, Jokic comes up with a bit of pace and put him on the deck.
Went straight into Markieff's back and put him on the deck. Yeah.
So pretty much, Markieff Morris was hit with a flagrant 2 foul, which we already know. Then afterwards received a $50,000 fine. Jokic was suspended for 1 game, which was their game on Thursday against Indiana. Now, the interesting thing is, the Miami players did rock up. They were in, I'm not sure, I don't know if it was Denver's change room or if it was like a hallway.
It looked like a hallway.
But they were
like a
all
tunnel.
there just...
And then, there was someone standing there, which I think is like, that's pretty shit. Like, I don't care what happens. To me, that kind of push and shove, that argy-bargy, that only goes from whistle to whistle,
Stays on the
siren
court.
to siren.
Yeah.
Once you walk off the field or, off the court, that's it. It's done. And to rock up, like, I just don't get it. Like, what did they think they were going to achieve?
Like,
What did you actually think was going to happen?
And he came out in his press conference and he did say it was a very crap piece of play.
Yeah, it's
Jokic.
not needed.
It was
For
bad.
the retaliation.
But, what is it going to do? What is rocking up? And, like, I just don't understand. And it's not like it was 1 or 2 players. It was a whole heap
like
of them.
5, yeah.
It was like 5 or 6.
I mean, they're standing up for their team. I understand.
I get it, but, like, the game's done.
They were in the wrong first, though. So how can you be acting all hard and like, oh, we want to get at him, when you've just completely ignored the fact Markieff ignited it? He's the one that hit him first.
Very
Completely
true. But in the same token, you're not going to say, well, you're not going to condemn him for like, or no, sort of, you're not going to say he's not in the wrong for what he did. But you're also not going to sit there and say, okay, well, the retaliation was fine and it was a teammate.
Were the Denver players out there waiting? No, because they're idiots.
The whistle had gone. The game's over.
I don't get it. How can you...
Not even just...
Like, I get backing your teammate. I get
Yes,
that 100%.
100%.
I get that.
And even Nicola's brother's getting involved now as well. I saw that on
There's
Twitter.
an absolute line.
Exactly.
And-
Not just for this, right? If any of my teams did that, I'd be filthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
If something happened on the field and then after the game, after it's finished, after it's all said and done,
It's a
you're
professional
rocking up
sport.
to
The NBA's had a history of this.
Yeah, the Malice in the Palace.
yeah.
Oh my god.
But more so like in terms of where it's
Team
happened.
versus team.
Yeah, so it's happened one game. Who was it? It was between the Clippers and the Rockets.
Is that when they fought in the?
It was like an on-field thing, but then it carried over to the next time. So it's happened. It's happened multiple times because everyone plays each other at least twice. At least.
But see, to me, so that happened. So in the first game, something happened, and then that continued on to the second game.
It has
Is
happened
that what you're
before.
saying?
It has happened
See,
before.
To me, that is miles better because it's during a game.
Absolutely.
But then it's motivated. There's motive behind that carries over, and then.
But see, it's not great, but that is so much better than rocking up to what appears to be probably the change rooms or something after the game has finished. That is so unprofessional. Put it this way, I don't care if it was Crows, Liverpool, Eagles, whatever. If I had team out, I don't care if it was half the team. I would say, right, none of them get to play the next game.
You're playing professional sports.
To me, that's to rock up.
It's not a good look. It's not a good look for the league. It's not a good look for the team.
What appears to be a change room or something, and actually have to have someone in place to stop them going further after the game was said and done is... I can't get my... Like, what was it going to achieve? That's the whole thing, is what was it going to achieve? At least with a bit of push and shove on the field, but what was that going to achieve?
I don't understand how you can act like that when you know your player on your team hit him first. He made the first contact. Jokic wasn't looking. He's come in, elbowed him right in the ribs. Jokic is always going to retaliate. If I was in that situation, I would retaliate. You got to remember, tensions are high in the middle of a game. You're going to be hot and firing.
This was towards the end of the game, though.
Yeah.
And Denver are up by a large amount.
Yeah, Denver up big. So Markeith, out of frustration, had a sook. And we know the Morris brothers are well known for this sort of bullshit. They do it all the time. And this is coming from a Celtics fan who had the other Morris brother on the team who pulled this sort of stuff. You can't go and sook and have your teammates go and act hard after you pulled the first trigger. It's ridiculous.
And just on brothers there as well, there's we've had Nicola's brothers speaking about it on social media, as well as Marcus Morris, who's Markeith's twin brother. So Nicola's brothers have bought tickets to the reverse. So that was the first of two meetings between Denver and Miami. Now the other game that they play is on the 30th of November in Miami. It's not that far away. No. There's a bit of motivation behind that one between his brothers rocking up, buying tickets to that game, going to Miami. So that's going to be interesting.
The Jokic brothers are scary too.
But also, Marcus Morris, who plays with the Clippers, he will see Nikola Jokic not until next month, the 27th of December. But I guarantee that there'll be something happening there between Marcus and Nikola.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of the teams decide to rest one player, just so they don't have that happen.
I don't know about that.
As long as it is on the court or whatever, it doesn't matter.
There's going to be words. It's going to be words.
Words is different.
I don't mind that.
Words is different because all you can do is the ref just tech them.
Yeah.
You move from there.
Like I said, I love nothing more than an on-field scuffle. I love it. I don't care what sport it is. I love players getting stuck into each other. But once you walk off the field of play, be it a court or a field in any sport, once you walk off the field of play, that's where it has to stop.
I think the AFL were a good example of that. I think you watch the AFL game and they're grabbing each other by the throats, the collars, they're getting each other, giving the shirt punches. Once they're off the field, it's handshaking.
Yeah.
It's beers together. I think NBA players need to learn how to differentiate between...
It's a different culture.
It's a different culture. 100% it is. They need to differentiate between having your emotions on the court and your emotions off the court.
Just the way it is. Now, the next part of our NBA topics, we've got here Marcus Smart. So I'm going to handball this to the bloke on my left. Jake, take it away.
Yeah, so I just wanted to quickly talk about Marcus Smart's comments a couple of weeks ago. So the Celtics were, I think, 2-5, and Marcus Smart has come out post-game in an interview calling out basically Jaylen Brown, our two best players, Jaylen Brown and Tatum, for not passing the ball. And look, from a Boston Celtics supporting fan, like from my point of view, I agree with what he's saying, but I don't agree with who it's coming from. Because Marcus Smart himself is a huge culprit of bricking threes when he knows he should be passing the ball. So hearing it from him is frustrating because he is just as bad as those two. But what he actually said is true. We need to move the ball more. And the fact is, since then, Tatum has averaged 8 assists a game. Brown had 7, but he's out with a hamstring injury at the moment. But since then, we've won 3 games, lost 1. So I don't know if that's been the motivation that they needed, but the fact is he was right, but I don't like who it come from. because Marcus Smart is notorious for bricking threes.
There's no playmakers on the team. There's no
You're
pass
right.
first players.
Exactly right, and that's why Schroeder's been starting. He had scored
He's had
28. Schroeder yesterday went 38-8. Today he scored 28-5. I would prefer to trade Marcus Smart for a bunch of role players and have Schroeder start at that point guard position because I feel like he is a pass first, and I know Nick has his opinion on him because he plays.
He's not pass first, but anyway,
he has been for us. He has been.
You can't you can't be scoring 38 and 28 and going, he's a pass first player.
38-8 and 4. You got to remember he's
4 assists.
No, 8 assists.
Oh, I thought he was insane.
8 assists, but you also got to remember there's also pass 2 assists. So
Yeah,
still
he's a
moving the
point.
ball.
He's a point guard. So he's going to, but he's not a pass first point guard.
He's
a
more
pass first.
But this
player.
is what I've been trying to say to you. He's more of a pass first than what Marcus Smart is.
Okay, I'm not disputing that.
And Marcus Smart, his production on the defensive side has gone down since he's won DPOY. So for me, signing him on this big contract that we just did was the bad.
I'll get back to the point where you said you want to trade him for role players. How much value does he have though?
That's the question, isn't it? Well, I'll put it to you. What do you think Marcus Smart is worth?
In terms of player, when you say role players, it's tricky. Draft picks is a lot easier to assess, but role players, I'm not sure. It depends on the team.
I don't think the Celtics at the moment are looking at draft picks because we traded our first to get rid of Kemba. So
We've still got plenty.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you offered me 3 players that could score 10 to 15 each per game, I would take that.
True, but you need different types of players to win titles. And I think the first thing would be, if you're going to trade for role players, I would instantly go, okay, we need someone who can rebound, and we need someone that can pass the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the first 2 things.
Yeah, I agree, because we need to get the best out of Jalen and Jason.
Now, I'm hearing stuff from the man on my right, Jeremy, when Kemba Walker's name was mentioned. Is there any input on that topic?
Actually, we could have a chat. I mean Jeremy's a Charlotte fan who lost to us.
We can talk about how, when it comes to Charlotte and Boston trading, that Charlotte always seems to get the better end or signing former players.
Yeah, we could. We could also talk about the results of the games against each other, where the Celtics seem to get the better of Charlotte.
Speaking of the Hornets, I know everyone in the chat has followed suit, but I think I zinged you pretty good the other night when you put that stat in about some player is like the most points or something scored, and then I was like, when? Today,
LaMelo.
This guy is proud of his 5-year-old comeback. Continue.
I think year 2 called you both due back in class.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, Jesus.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Can you hurry up and finish the point? I've got some homework to finish.
I'm just going to get to the shop. I'm going to be abused about Kyle Shanahan and Leach having an argument.
Jake's still struggling.
I know who told me that too.
Keep going.
I think part of Boston's problem is its own internal ability to just overrate themselves, because you look at all the players they went to get. Look at all their players they've got in the last few years. Kemba's just one of them. What exactly is wrong with Boston that they're not among the elite?
Because they're not swinging.
Brad Stevens.
They're not
Danny
swinging.
Ainge.
It's all
We've had this discussion before. Boston have had a period since about 2017, 2018, where they've been right on the cusp. They've made 4 or 3 of the last 5 conference finals, right? So is that not an incentive for one of those years to go, okay, let's make a swing on a superstar?
But that's the thing. A lot of players don't want to come to Boston. They
I
don't.
think it's kind of a shame, though, because you look at the NBA.
You've got to swing.
NBA is very image focused. It's very, you look at the big teams, Los Angeles, Golden State, I guess the Knicks.
But it doesn't take much. But the point is, it doesn't take much, because you look at the last 4 champions, right? The last 4. We've said this before, right? The Golden State Warriors, the big swing, they took Kevin Durant. They didn't have to give up anything for that.
Yes.
But they were right there. They're on the edge, right? Then Toronto were second rounders, first round exits constantly. They made a big swing on a guaranteed 1-year rental on Kawhi Leonard. It paid off. They went all the way. They got a few breaks, but still, the point stands. We missed the playoffs. We got Anthony Davis. We gave up the farm. We mortgaged our future. We brought him in. He played a very good role. Could have been a Finals MVP. It was through the first 3 games. And we ended up winning. And then even last year, to a lesser degree, they brought in Drew Holiday, who got sent to both Booker and Chris Paul, who locked them both down from game 2 onwards, and ended up winning them a championship. You've got to swing big. You've got to swing big in order to have a chance.
Yeah,
That's the way it's moving forward.
If the Celtics had gotten AD, could have gone.
You could have said that. You could absolutely, because even with the talent, because I think Kyrie was no. Well, I think it would have. There was some more that you would have had to give. I think you would have had to give up Kyrie, but still, you pair him with Tatum and Brown. Still,
yeah, if you got
that
AD
might have still been able to take up.
Oh, for sure.
And the Warriors didn't have a center.
Mm.
They didn't have a center, so
it's hindsight, I guess, but
it is
frustrating. It's very frustrating being a Celtics fan.
Now, speaking about the Bucks at the moment,
they're down bad at the moment.
they currently have a losing record. Has anyone noticed that?
3-6, I think. 3-5.
No. It's like
I think it's 6 and 7.
Oh.
Something like that. So they're on the cusp.
They got a losing record already.
I think.
I mean, they'll make
the
the playoffs.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
As long as they make, I think it's just like the Lakers. As long as they make the playoffs, they'll make a splash.
Oh no, no. Do we really want to go into that?
Yeah, but you got LeBron.
It's not happening.
You got LeBron though.
I've said this. I can't believe you put us first.
I know. I can't
either.
either. I laughed my ass off when I saw that.
Hang on.
It's not happening, Jeremy.
Hang on a minute. Are you really with the way the NBA, how that's meant like currently situated towards big teams? Do you really think there's no chance?
No chance. Second round at most.
No, not at.
I don't think the Lakers
at
can win the
most.
chip, but I think they'll make playoffs.
The problem
Most.
is though. The problem is you've fallen into the Russell Westbrook trap.
Correct.
Everyone.
And there's a few other issues
Shout
as
out,
well, but
shout
that's
out,
the big.
Hang on.
But that's the biggest issue. It is the biggest issue.
Jake, I'm not hearing things right.
Yeah.
Did Nick and Jeremy just agree on something?
Yeah, I know. I nearly
Did
fell
that
off my
just
chair.
happen?
I nearly fell off my
I'm
chair.
glad
On this
that's
debate, it's not
recorded.
hard to.
Nick has been
Russell
anti-Westbrook for so long.
Well, I was as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
look. Here's the thing.
He's a stat pattern. He's always been a
I'll
stat
give you an
pattern.
example.
So hang on. Time out on the
I can't even get my
clock.
point
You
out.
knowing,
He's the
hang
guy.
on, you knowing that we had Westbrook went, okay, they're going to finish first in the West.
Yes, because I thought it might be different. But
No.
obviously, it's
No.
not.
He needs Jesus
But
Christ.
I'm allowed to change.
At least.
I'm allowed to change my opinion.
Okay.
Based
Yeah, that's
on
fine.
new information.
I'll
We've
go
got
with the
that
information.
new information.
I can give you new information.
Yeah. But the thing is this: Westbrook is not someone that meshes well with other people. He would be if it was high school. He'd be the guy that doesn't play well with the other children.
Mm-hmm.
You look at. I'll give an example of a team doing very well.
He's an Irving vibe type.
I'll give an example of someone
Nah, not
that's
the same.
doing very well at the moment. Say Chicago.
Would you say Irving's worse than Westbrook?
No.
You shit me, right?
Oh.
Who's the one that's won the title and
Who's
had
the
the
one
most
that's
clutch
not
shot?
playing right now?
But hang on, no. But before you say that,
Hang
before
on.
you say that,
Hang on.
I'm calling time out.
Time out.
You were bitching
About what?
when you replaced Kyrie Irving with Kemba Walker.
Yeah, because Walker sucks.
Don't you?
Hang on, so you're telling me right now you would take Westbrook over Kyrie Irving?
Oh, fuck no. I wouldn't take either of them.
No,
I wouldn't take either of them.
A multiple-time All-Star sucks, even if he's a great team player.
His legs are done. His knees are done.
Yeah,
No
now
knees.
they are, but he was an All-Star.
Biscuit knees Kemba.
Biscuit Kemba.
He's brittle as shit.
You needed Kemba.
We didn't need Kemba. We didn't
You
need
did.
Kemba.
You needed someone to replace Kyrie.
No.
So you sacrificed Terry Rozier, and thank you so much.
I would have
for
preferred
that.
to keep Terry.
Let's actually look at this. I'm going to say this. I actually don't think I'm going to get a disagreement from Jake here. The 3 major signings that linked Charlotte to Boston have benefited Charlotte every time.
I agree. I do agree.
Which, to everyone not realizing, when
Terry
Gordon
Rozier.
Hayward signed for the Hornets from the Celtics, he's been better at Charlotte than Boston. Now, to be fair to Boston, it's because he got very badly hurt. That's
His
not
first
exactly
game, he
Boston.
broke his leg
Exactly.
horrendously.
So that's not exactly on Boston, but still, he has been better at Charlotte. Number 2, the Kemba Rozier trade.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone, because Rozier is the shooting guard.
Yeah, Rozier was a better pick.
The big shooting guard. Say it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, do we know number 3?
Gordon Hayward.
No, that was number 1.
Terry Rozier.
Well, yeah, Terry Rozier, Kemba Walker.
I don't know.
Terry Rozier.
Who's the third?
Developed. No, that's what I'm saying. Kemba Walker was second. Carusi, who came through on that trade the other way, has grown by leaps and bounds to Charlotte. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter if they're going to Charlotte or coming from Charlotte, if they're young or they're old or whatever, they play better in the Queen City. That's the point I made initially about Boston's problem. It's a self-image problem.
I agree.
I said it. I thought I was going to get an agreement from the Boston.
My feeling is the team, they just think it's going to happen. They don't want to work for it. They think just because I'm Jason Tatum and I'm Jaylen Brown, I can take all the shots and we'll win. It doesn't work that way. And it's only recently that the boys have actually started passing the ball. And just quite quickly, with Brown out, so when Jason Tatum plays with Brown in the team, he averages 23 points a game. Without Jaylen Brown, he averages 29. We need to find a way for them to work together and average their best. If we can manage to do that, if we could get the best out of Brown and Tatum at the same time, that's playoffs. That's almost finals. Because those two...
It's playoffs. You're going to make playoffs anyway.
Those two, when they're on fire, are very, very, very hard to stop.
You need a playmaker. But I will say this. I'm getting back to both your points. It's not happening with us this year. The Lakers, isn't it? Not further than the second round.
No, I don't think so.
Not further than the second round. The writing's been on the wall for a very long time.
I think at this stage, Charlotte and the Celtics will be in the play-in as well.
I think it will be better.
Do you?
Well, play-in is 7th.
We're only 12.
As well.
We're only like 12 games. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's definitely early, but from what I've seen so far, I've got us both in play-in. Because we're just not consistent.
It's a weird season to begin. A few teams have started very slowly. Chicago overlapped up there.
It's been a strange season. Washington and Cleveland are top.
Cleveland.
That's what happened. They got rid of Westbrook. Look what happened. Look what happens.
Who did they bring in,
It's
Nick?
actually not so bad when
Nick.
you consider Bradley Beal wanted out of Washington.
Nick, who did they bring in?
They brought in Kuzma. Mind you, Kuzma coming in, leading the Wizards on top.
Hasn't he been talking shit about...
Tatum with the Celtics.
Hasn't he been talking shit
7th.
about LeBron since he left, though?
I don't know.
Because LeBron basically traded him for Westbrook.
Well, I would be talking. I wouldn't be talking shit. I would be laughing. That's what I would be doing. Look what you've ended up with.
Because you've lost Kuzma for Westbrook.
Well, it could have been. It should have been. Rob Pelinka had Kuzma straight swap. I don't know how this happened.
How do you lose
Kuzma and a first? Kuzma and a first for Buddy Hield. But LeBron decided, oh no, let's make this a mates club. Hang on,
boys club. Yeah, boys club. It's a definite boys club team.
What had Hield and Cole Lowry on the flight to Los Angeles, and went no, $43 million a year for Westbrook, along with picks and.
What the hell is LeBron thinking? What is
LeBron? He wants to be an owner one day or a GM.
Good God.
Send him to the Celtics.
Anything else, or are we good? Send him to the Celtics.
Send him to the Celtics.
Fuck. Josh would lose his shit.
I mean, really, it's quite interesting though, because Lakers aren't horrible, and Boston are like roughly the same situation as Charlotte. I'm the only one positive about my team.
Yeah, because you're a smaller franchise. You don't know.
No, but on top of that, the stage of what you are at is different to the stage which we should be at.
Yeah, but you get all the advantages.
In terms of...
Free agents want to go to Los Angeles. They don't want to go small market teams. Small market teams are essentially a market for the large teams to go run.
Okay, yeah, you still got to draft well to be able to be out the top.
Gordon Hayward didn't pick you at all, did he?
We were the only ones willing to pay him.
Bullshit, Indiana Pacers. His hometown.
We gave him a big contract. Pacers didn't give him as big a contract as we gave him.
He still picked you.
The point still stands. You still got to draft well to be able to.
You know what? We actually were horrible at drafting. But I'll give credit. Rich Cho, one of the worst basketball executives of all time.
So can we just quickly...
Like Mitch Kupchak, you look at his first ever draft pick, Miles Bridges. PJ Washington after that. He brought in LaMelo Ball.
Who employed him?
Rich Cho. I'm trying to think. I know Michael Jordan was in charge when he left. I can't remember if he was one of the highest.
So are you telling me Michael Jordan is running a team better than LeBron is? Is that what's happening? Joshua Hobson? I hope you're listening.
Wait, hang on. I'm trying to read that. Hang on. If we're going to go by that, he's already won a title with us.
Who, LeBron?
Yeah.
To be fair, like Jeremy said, it's a.
But that was through Ron Pelinka's movements, not LeBron.
It wasn't LeBron that did. Yeah. LeBron's
Maybe
only
the
been
AG
GM.
one, but that's I don't know.
LeBron's only been GM this season, I feel like.
I don't know, but they're definitely been this offseason because I don't know why Westbrook is playing.
From where Charlotte were to where they are now, it's been a good step for them.
It was really interesting though because I was in mourning when Kemba left.
I don't know why.
When we beat.
Well, he was
Like,
good.
Shut your mouth.
He was the Hornets.
He
He embodied the Hornet spirit.
And the thing is this, right? When we played New York on Saturday, it was the best possible result. Because Charlotte won, but Kemba had a great game. That was...
My God.
I'm sorry if Kemba
Christ.
Walker is my favourite player.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, Mr.
No one had this amount of love when Shaq threw us under the
Kemba
bus.
Walker's
Jesus
my favourite
Christ.
player. Sends LaMelo ball pitches all day, every
He's my
goddamn
favourite
day.
This
current
guy,
player.
this
there
guy's
it is.
creaming it. This
There
guy's
it is.
creaming
Hang on,
it.
I'll be sending you Miles Bridges.
Yeah, Miles Bridges.
This guy's
goddamn
creaming it
LaMelo
over
fucking
bloody Kemba
LaMelo.
Walker. Oh my God.
Fucking biscuit knees.
We had a guy that won 3 straight finals MVPs with us. We didn't like him at all. And he threw Kobe and our whole team under the bus. What are you on about? You're out here celebrating biscuit knees.
Kemba
Biscuit
is
knees.
the best player Charlotte's ever
And we had a guy that's had one of the best final series of all time.
Do you hate Magic Johnson?
No?
Do
Why
you
would I
hate
hate
Larry
Magic
Bird?
Johnson?
No.
No, you don't hate the best players in your franchise's history.
Are you
So
comparing?
why would I hate mine?
Are you comparing Kemba Walker?
Wait, hang on. No, hang on. What's this got to do with hate? Why is it hate?
You're-
We're talking about like players that you're in love with. So what's this got to do with? What's this got to do?
You overrated the Celtics in your top 5 to the point I had to get up.
Oh,
No,
get
hang on.
fucked.
Yeah, but hang on. I want to time out on this. What's this got to do with hate? Why would we hate them?
You hate Kemba. Or
I didn't
you
hate Kemba.
like it.
He just
You
thinks he's not
acting
good.
like it.
I'm shocked that you're just having this much love for someone that's done nothing.
have-
When you're a
How long?
franchise like Charlotte, you got to take all the positives that you can.
I just
Hang on,
don't
how-
understand.
How long have you known me for?
I don't know, 4 or 5 years.
Right. And you didn't know I loved Kemba before now.
That
Are
long.
you
What's that got to do with the price of eggs?
That
How
long
do
dealing
you
with
not
Jez.
know how much
That
I
long.
loved Kemba before
That long dealing with Jeremy's agendas. My
I
God.
don't get. I just don't get. No, but I'm trying to go back to the comparison where you're like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. Why would we hate? I don't understand
You drool
it.
over Magic Johnson. You drool over. Let's face it. You drool over anyone.
Okay, but what's it got to do with
The
hate?
hick from French Lick. I love you, Larry.
What's that got to do with hate?
So why?
I
would
don't
you
hate Shaq because he left. What? That's
Celtics legend Shaquille O'Neal.
yeah.
You're desperate.
Won 3 titles with him.
I don't care anything about the Celtics.
There you go.
All right, let's go. Let's finish up.
All right. So that is all for another edition of Tween. Jeremy, you're right. Shaking his head.
We've broken him.
That's all the episode for him.
He's shaking his
When
head. He's thinking about his top
When
5
Charlotte wins its first NBA championship, it's going to
Oh,
mean more
God.
than any championship you two.
I'm going into hiding.
What?
I'm not dealing with
What's
it.
that got to do with anything? A championship is a championship.
When you catch up to 17, let me know.
This isn't like
I'm out.
this isn't this hasn't got anything to do with like Arsenal winning the gold Premier League. Like, what is this?
Although of an Arsenal fan.
The ring is still the same. The ring is still the same.
Lakers is playing on easy difficulty. Charlotte are playing on hard.
What? Well, get on easy difficulty then.
It's not. What? Charlotte are going to grow into the size and glitz and
You
glamour
got to draft
of
well. All of our most
We have drafted.
all of our
well.
most important players ever we've drafted.
No.
Jerry West,
No.
Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant.
Shaquille
Yes or no?
O'Neal, LeBron
Those are our 3
James.
most important players
you're
ever.
You're saying Shaquille.
Our most 3 important players
we're
ever to
capping
our
it at
franchise.
3. We're capping it at 3. But
No, I'm saying our top 3. Our top 3 most important players to our franchise were all drafted
So
by us.
You're saying Shaquille O'Neal not make top 3.
Important, not greatest. In 2 meanings here. There's 2 different meanings.
Well, how do you define important?
What they've done for the franchise.
Well, what did Shaquille do for the franchise? That wouldn't make it top 3.
Okay, well, you can argue the same thing for Kareem, Will. You
I
can
could.
argue them for
I
any
could
of them.
very easily.
But I'm saying
Kareem,
our top
LeBron.
3 most important players in our franchise were all with us on draft night.
You have drafted your share, but you've also signed your
Yeah,
share.
but same here.
Okay.
Celtics' best 3 players have all been drafted by us.
Correct.
Jeremy, quickly.
And the Warriors would be the same.
Are you saying Kemba Walker?
Chicago's the same. There's a common theme
Are
here,
you
Jeremy.
saying Kemba Walker's more important to your franchise than Muggsy Bogues was?
in all time ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Kemba has the records. Not to say Muggsy Bogues.
And another team.
Now, Muggsy Bogues is an iconic member of what made Hornets basketball great in the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But Kemba has all the records.
Okay. You know what? Getting back to what I said before, the 5 flagship teams of this league. You've got the Lakers, the Celtics, the Bulls, the Spurs, the Warriors. All built their dynasties off the drafts. Yes or no?
I don't know. I think
Chicago.
If we go dynasty.
Warriors
signed
Spurs.
some players to get their dynasty going. They had
One
Curry,
player.
but they had Durant. Yeah, but Durant is a pretty big.
Okay, but they drafted. Okay, but they won a title without Durant.
I'm not saying I'm not saying they haven't won title.
But the majority they drafted of their stars. Chicago, the Spurs. We've done the same. Boston's done the same. You've got to go through the draft and develop.
Lakers
Jeremy.
have had their share as well.
So you've still got Kemba ahead of Johnson and
If you were
Alonzo
going to
Mourning?
Are you saying if I was listening like all time
yes,
best Hornets?
Yeah.
Yes, Kemba is number 1.
okay. And what? So where would you have Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues, and Alonzo Mourning then?
You want me to do my top 5 Hornets?
Mhm.
In order.
Well, number 1's Kemba.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Keep going. Keep going.
This guy,
He's got it out for Kemba today.
he's got it out with Kemba in space. I don't hate Kemba. Now just let me go against Kemba on everything.
I'm not hating him. If I was hating him, I would be saying much worse stuff about him.
Larry Johnson 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Alonzo Mourning 3rd.
Mhm.
Muggsy Bogues 4th.
Mhm.
Del Curry 5th.
Okay, so you got. Yeah, I was gonna say, what about Dell? Right.
And now I'm getting the Vulcan death stare from
What about Jaron Wallace?
I'm looking at my laptop.
No,
What are you on
he's
about?
up there, of course.
Mm.
Best player in the Bobcats era. Not that that's exactly very high hurdle.
Yeah.
If Nick took
Eddie-
to a basketball court tomorrow in a Bobcats uniform, he'd be the second. best
Eddie
player.
Jones was underrated for you guys too.
Yeah, Eddie Jones was pretty good.
Mm.
You know, Al Jefferson.
Yeah,
you
Jefferson,
Know, Al
yeah.
Jefferson was very
Al
nice.
Jefferson. I remember that.
Mm.
Yeah, we've really liked it since he left. Yeah, I think Glenn Rice is another.
Yeah, Glenn Rice is up there.
Glenn Rice is up there. I think when all is said and done, Miles Bridges. And
He'll be up there,
LaMelo
top
Ball
5.
will
If
be
they
up
stay,
there.
if they stick around, yeah. definitely.
Yeah, so Kemba's still number 1. You know, when
Fair
I
enough.
think when he retires,
I'm
I'm
keep going.
looking at him right now.
Keep going.
I actually don't know how to describe what
Nicholas
he's
is making
doing.
faces.
When he retires, I think his number 15 will be retired by Charlotte.
Is that LaMelo? No, Bridges.
No, Kemba.
Oh, did Kemba wear 15?
Yes.
I wouldn't have a clue what he wore at Charlotte. He
LaMelo
wore
is-
8 for us. So.
LaMelo is number 2, Bridges is number 0.
We're good.
This concludes another edition of Tween the Lines. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we'd like to say that, like we said at the start, we have been sorry for the last fortnight, haven't been able to get some episodes out to you guys, but we're back on track now.
Yeah, unfortunately, there was just a bit of a clash of schedules. In a few weeks' time, we're actually going to have an early pod. So there's actually one that's probably going to be released maybe even a little bit earlier on the Sunday or even on the Saturday, just depending how things work out.
And look out for our AFL draft podcast as well.
we've
We're
got
doing
that
that
coming
live,
up.
watching it, so that'll be
We'll
a
be
week or
doing
so.
a separate one for that, and we'll be inviting someone onto the pod in the next few weeks as well.
Very exciting times.
Mm-hmm. Jump on our socials, Facebook and Twitter as well as our various podcast sites such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Podbean.
Yeah,
And
correct.
as always, thank you for listening,
That's right.
not watching. Thank you for listening.
And we will
watching
be
the
back
With it anyway.
arguing. We'll be back arguing amongst each other the next weekend.
We hope you've
Also-
enjoyed our latest edition, and hopefully you guys are tuning in next week.